I'm gonna open that. Do that.
Are we live?
We're live.
Hey! Thanks for tuning into our Facebook Live video. I want to give everybody maybe a minute or two to get in here. I'm Trish, the Purple Painted Lady. Happy New Year. Tell me if you see anybody popping up.
Not yet.
Okay, well, that's okay. We did not send out a text message alert. We're going to start those back up in January. So if you're just hopping on now, and you typically would get a text message alert, don't be alarmed. Like I said, we'll start those back up next month. But this is somewhat of an impromptu Facebook video, so just thought I'd share that. So anyways, welcome to the Purple Painted Lady. I'm Trish, and we thought we would just get together with you and discuss some exciting changes. There's only a few, but some exciting changes in regards to chalk paint by Annie Sloan. And today we're going to be focusing on 3 colors. One is a brand new color. We thought, Hannah, if I could have you bring our camera back over here, we are going to be discussing and showing you Pure White, which is known as Pure, Original, which is a new color to the United States, although it's been around for, I don't exactly know, I'm going to guess maybe 30 years, and Original has always been part of the chalk paint suite that Annie Sloan created probably 30 some odd years ago. And then we're also going to be talking about the color Old White, which is a very, very popular color. So come on back, and I'm sorry to move you guys around a bit. So in 2019, we have some exciting new advancements, some new products that are going to be coming out, and also some changes. So Annie Sloan is a global brand. It is sold in Russia, which is amazing. I know there's at least 2 different stores in Russia. It's all throughout Europe. It's in North America. It's in South America. It's also in Asia. So in order to have all her countries aligned when it comes to packaging, and also in some cases for just a few when it comes to colors, 2019, especially right now, we're sort of transitioning. So that way the United States inventory is going to be the same as everywhere else. This allows for better quality control when it comes to Annie. And she is very, very focused on producing. Actually, B, can you turn that radio right off for me? She is very focused on making sure that if you are ordering original, no matter where you're at, it's going to be the same color. So we thought we would discuss that. One of the big changes, most people, it'll be obvious as we transition through some of our inventory. I'm just gonna leave these here. I'll be right back, don't follow me. Is the fact that paint, which was in a quart container, is now going to be in a liter container. So we went from 32 ounces to, Brittany, what is a liter? 33.8 or 34? Can you please look on the computer? And so you're going to be getting a couple extra ounces of paint for the same price. So again, this is the quart, the container that says Old White. And then you'll notice also on the new liter containers, there's going to be a color swatch. So that way, not only does it tell you the name of the paint, but it's going to give you a sample of what the color is going to look at. Okay, we are going to be doing another video that we're going to share, and it's going to show you a slight difference in some of the graphite, and it's really exciting, and I think you're going to love it. But the other thing I want to just mention is that the lids are slightly different. So the new lids, I'm just going to set this over here. We really like using these little paint can openers. We will have them on our website. What's
They're 33.8 ounces.
Okay, 33.8 ounces, so almost 2 full ounces more. We will have these on our shopping cart available for you to purchase later this afternoon. A lot of times too, if you're purchasing like 5 or 6 quarts, and believe it or not, some people do, we will throw one of these in free. They're really minimal. So this little tool is going to help you open this lid. Okay, so before, oftentimes with a quart container, honestly, we'd probably, this is barely on, we would just pop it from one side, maybe two, and it opens. The new liter containers, which I think you're going to find that these are not going to rust, the lids, similar to how we maybe had it in the past, when you go to open this, you kind of need to just take your time, and you just need to take the little tool, or if you have a flat edge, and just sort of gently go around. Notice I almost did, I went 360, and then the lid comes right off, okay? And in the past, we typically would use a mallet to put the lid on. Now, all you need to do is use sort of the palms of your hand and just kind of squish around, and you can actually, do you hear that? Let's see if I can do it anymore. I got it in there. And now the lid's on. So instead of having to use a hammer to bang it on, because these lids here on the quart, you couldn't do that. You needed literally to use a hammer or something with a little force. The new tins, the liter tins, all you have to do is use the palm of your hand, and you just push around the perimeter, and you can actually hear it go in. And so it's a minor little change, but it is a change, so I wanted to let you know, okay? With the changes from quarts to liters, something that's really important to, I guess, explain is there also is going to be some colors, not all the colors, but a few of them, where there's going to be some color changes or drifting, I guess is what's known in the paint world. So in this example over here, we decided, in order to explain things, I think a little bit easier, and you might want to get a little closer, Hannah, is that in our shop, while we are purging our quart inventory of some colors, we will refer to old white in liter and old white in quart to differentiate the two. In the past, you may be more familiar with old white being more of a creamy yellow. In fact, many of our customers thought it was too yellow. And the old white globally that's packaged in a liter, you are going to find is more, I like to almost refer to it as like a oyster color, somewhat of like a white with a slight gray to it, very minimal. If I was to explain to you, if you want, you can zoom in on me. So according to Annie, the way she would describe the old white in a liter, okay, and I'm going to read her description. She says it's the color of chalk or gesso. This is a cool, soft white, and I want to repeat cool because it's not a warmer white with yellow, it's a cooler white. And I see the difference when I hold that next to a traditional, in the past, old white. Can you pick up on that with the camera? Okay. So, and this board here only has one coat. I literally just did it within the hour. That's just a sample board that I had here in the shop. So she likes to say old white. Well, she goes on to say it works with everything, and it's the quintessential French look over Paris gray. Many of our customers that we've been talking to about the old white in a liter are really excited because often they would take old white that was from before, that was in a quart, that was more yellow, mix it with pure white to tone it down some. So I think that's an important fact. Do we want to go back to that little table that you painted? So this shows you some colors that came out of the new packaging, and we have the old white that is more of a cool old white, more like gesso versus creamy French vanilla. We have original, and the way that Annie explains original is that it's a warm, slightly creamy, traditional white. And now the camera may be picking up on this a little differently, and you might want to, I know it's kind of difficult, but maybe come down so not so much on an angle. Yeah. Annie likes to say the original is the color of old painted furniture. It's perfectly paired with duck egg blue, Antoinette, and Louis blue for a delicate, old, distressed French look. And then, of course, we always have our pure white. This is a cool, clean white. It makes a crisp contrast with strong colors, and it's definitely perfect for modern interiors. She also states to note that the pure white has the least covering power of all colors and may require an additional coat, which is nothing new. Pure white and whites in general don't have as much color blocking ability, and we're familiar with that. We've often recommended maybe painting a base in a color like country gray in order to maybe conserve on your pure white. Any questions so far? No?
Just Jody wondering if there's going to be a liquidation sale.
Actually, I gotta tell you, Jody, if anything, I would probably, there is not a liquidation sale because we do have customers coming in who started a project in a certain color and they want to finish it in that color. So that was my biggest concern. And I want to make sure I have paint available for that. So, okay. Anyway, so maybe what we're going to do is I thought I would just open, we already have an old white open, but we had another one that we decanted into a plastic bottle just for this video to make it a little bit easier to convey when we're painting. And I'm going to, you don't need to move, I'm just going to grab the old white cabinet, bring it over. Jody, I will say this, although you're going to be getting 2 additional ounces of paint, the price of the paint's going to stay the same. So there's no increase there, okay?
Janet Metzger says, hello, Trisha.
Hi, Janet. Janet Metzger, The Empty Nest. She has beautiful painting. She was one of the, I think, very popular Annie Sloan chalk paint stockists in Virginia, and she's now focusing on her art. She also is an artist at our festival, and you hopefully will be able to see her in 2019 with a tent and all of her artwork. So thanks for tuning in. Okay, old white. I also think what's important to explain about the paint, hold on one second, let me grab this in the liter. So the paint that is coming in the liter is also a little bit thicker than what we're familiar with. And it's gonna, I think the coverage is actually better. And I've been very impressed with it. So I have to apologize, I poured this in here a couple days ago. I might have a little bit of dried paint near the top there. And I just wanted to mention that to you. So, but again, this is the old white, and I'm painting it next to a cabinet that was painted in the old white that used to come in the quart containers, which we still have in-house, and we have available on our website. But once those quart containers are gone, so is that color. I personally believe if you really love that yellowy color, you can just reproduce it using the color cream and mixing it with either pure white or old white, and you'll get something sort of similar.
Steve is watching. He says he likes your apron.
Oh yeah, so I have to apologize. I couldn't find my paint apron. Sometimes I bring it to multiple stores and I don't know where I put it. So, okay, so pure white is another color that we're going to demo. But I just want to point out that this really is old white. It is old white in the liter. It's probably a sharp contrast on that picture, I'm guessing. And again, it's more of a cooler, softer white. And there is a difference. I personally, I love this new color. This is actually the color I have in my house on my kitchen cabinets currently, because this was too creamy for my home. So if anyone has questions on that, let me know. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside, and maybe we'll go ahead and paint a board in original. So, hey Brittany, oh never mind, I got him right here. I'm all set. Okay, so I'm going to set this big cabinet door. And if you want, Brittany or Hannah, you can pan that up for now, just in case. Where did I put that whiteboard? Oh, right there. Make sure I don't get that there. Okay, so let's go to original. This is a brand new color in the United States. Although, like I said, it's been around for close to, I don't know, I'm going to guess maybe 30 years. I don't know, because we didn't have it. But it's new to us. And, oh, I'm painting the backside, and that's okay. It's a very similar color, but yet it's different. So, let me grab this brush. Annie likes to say, I'm going to just bring this over again. Annie compares this, she says it's a warm, slightly creamy, traditional white. It does sort of get more intensified, the color, when you put your clear wax on it. I'm painting the back of this board, which is a little rough, and it actually has some dust in some of these crevices. And I put a lot too much paint on it, but that's okay. I'd rather have too much than not enough. I think that reminds me, what do you think? How would you describe that?
It is kind of hard to describe. And it will look different when it dries.
I'm going to set this right here for 1 second. And I want to...
It's almost like a beach that has really bright sand.
So that's the original white. I want to make sure you understand this is old ochre. So there is a difference between those colors. Okay, so this is old ochre. That's original. And the reason I wanted to pull that out is Annie actually has a sort of an informational slide that's out there. And she refers to original as slightly earthy ochre. And when I heard that, I started to think of her paint color called old ochre. But they're not the same at all. So this is definitely more almost like a bleached muslin is what we would like to say. Where the original is going to have, it's a warm color, but it is more of a traditional white. So that again, are you able to get this next to it so that way you see it? That is original white. We have all these colors on our website in the sample pot sizes too. And that's something else that I wanted to point out. In the past, sample pots came sort of in a little plastic container. Maybe you want to go grab two. And now they're going to come in almost like a mini-me of the liter container. So, which is really cool because the big thing about these containers is that plastic does allow air to pass through. You don't think of that, but it does. So the paint will actually stay better. Thank you. Whoever's getting these, my hand might be give you a little paint on your container. So these were the previous little containers, the sample pots, which are nice because you're able to see the color. However, the new ones will have the painted swatch. And again, the top of this you'll open just like you did with the liter. You just kind of wiggle around the perimeter and then just use the palm of your hand to push it on. But your paint's going to stay better in this container than it had in the plastic. So hopefully that's a benefit, you know. Something small that you'll be able to notice. Thanks, Brittany. If you want, you can grab those. So, okay, so we did this one in original. I'm going to just bring it on over here.
And Mary Beth is wondering how different are the original and the new old white?
Well, you know what?
It was hard to translate while it's wet in the video.
Yeah.
But over here, they're dry and waxed. So you can see the difference there.
Yep. So this is old white in the liter container here. And then put that back. So that way you can see the difference. Mary Beth, does that communicate well at all enough for you over the video, hopefully? Just to give you an idea of the differences between the two. Okay. Any other questions on that?
Mary Beth says got it. And does Annie Sloan paint get old is another question.
You know, actually, as long as you keep those containers airtight, you will be fine. I have paint that is, well, I've been a retailer now for almost 9 years. I actually have paint at my house that's some colors that I don't use often. And as long as that lid is tight and just shake it up, that paint is fine. You never want your paint to freeze. If you order paint, sometimes it arrives to you, it might be really cold. But in general, don't store it where it's going to freeze, defrost over a period of time, because then it'll get sandy and gritty and you'll ruin it. But absolutely, the paint will stay for years. And same with the wax. The wax also, as long as that container is airtight, that can last for years too. And the wax doesn't matter if it gets cold or not. It can freeze, it can get really hot, almost become liquid. Just keep the lid on it. Once it solidifies back to where it needs to be, it's totally fine. That's not a problem. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I just want to use the pure white, and then I'm going to put them all next to each other again. And like I mentioned before, I find the paint is heavier. It is, it has a lot of body to it. So if you're going for more of a traditional finish, I think something that's important to realize is Annie has this 2-inch brush. It's a natural bristle mixed with synthetic bristles. It's on her website. She's always carried this brush. This is my actual go-to brush for kitchen cabinets. And we're going to be creating maybe a kitchen cabinet kit, just because I really believe this helps you lay the paint nicer. And the paint doesn't want to be handled a lot. You want to get it on the surface and sort of lightly have the bristles tip on it once you've gotten it on there to lay it, and then leave it alone, to be honest with you. You can still thin it with some water, or I personally, we have these on our shopping cart. It's just a fine mister bottle. There you go. And you know, it's great for the summertime. If you have one already, terrific. This is more of like a food grade one. But we do sell these on our online store and in our retail locations. I think these are what, 12 bucks or something? I don't know. So if you don't have one, you might want to consider picking one up. And when I do a cabinet door, the first coat is no problem. The second coat, I often will get some drag, and that's where I'll just lightly mist over the surface, and then I'll paint my second coat, and it just helps spread the paint more. Or you can take some paint and mix it with water in a separate container. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually going to just pour this on, but what I also am going to do is sort of make a mess here. I'm going to bring back those other two boards. You can just stay there for 1 second, just so that way you can kind of see them side by side. Right? Do I have everything? Mm-hmm. This is really not an easy way of seeing it. So this was old white, that was original, and then this is pure white. If you don't really see much of a difference, it's just maybe, unfortunately, maybe because of my camera, but there really is. Pure white is definitely, pure white's exactly how I've known it in the past. Pure white to me hasn't really changed. It's white. It's basically like a piece of paper white. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Let me go ahead and just get this on here.
Mary Beth also wants to know if you ever use a roller.
You know, Mary Beth, you can absolutely use a roller. I never paint with one. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just don't typically paint with a roller. Some people like to apply their paint with the roller and then just kind of go over it really quick with a brush to lay it. I don't know. It's like I don't really have salt in my food. Some people like a lot of salt, but it's just a personal preference. So, again, so we have pure white, we have old white, and this is sort of like I said, reminds me sort of an oyster white. And then we have original. Okay. We are going to be doing another video on in a couple weeks. And it's just, if I can, I'm just going to hold these up. Stay where you're at. You bring them over. When we do that video, it's just going to be introducing Graphite in a litre, which, is this on our website now? Yeah, it is. Okay, so the Graphite versus the Graphite in the quart. Graphite liters is definitely more of a true black. And it's getting darker in that sense, and I think you're going to be very pleased about that too. Does that come through okay on the video?
I think so.
Okay. Any other questions? Hopefully this helped explain some of the difference. So again, there's going to be changes regarding the packaging throughout, honestly, mostly probably 2019, where paint that was in quarts, and it's not old paint, it's still good paint. Don't be thinking anything like that, because, you know, paint lasts a very long time, but we typically rotate our inventory, depending on the color, could be every, I don't know, 8 to 12 weeks, somewhere in there. So once this is consumed, we'll just be getting in paint in the liter container. So you're going to be getting a couple more ounces, same price. Some of the colors will be drifting slightly, Like I said, we'll be talking about graphite in January, and then we're also going to have 2 other videos talking about Svenska blue and duck egg, and then also Chicago gray and Paris gray. So the colors you love in those cases absolutely are still going to be here, but there's also going to be a slight tweak with a different name. Well, we'll go into that when we get to it. Okay, so any other last minute questions that you can think of? Starting in 2019, we'll be back with our text reminder. So we'll kick that back in January. And you guys have been great. We can't tell you enough how much everyone at the Purple Painted Lady appreciates you. We have about 13, 14 employees, and we'd like to think we're a family, and we're here to help you all. And we appreciate our customers. You allow us to support them. So, yeah, thanks so much for tuning in.